Okay. Now that everyone has written something about themselves, now you're going to ask your partner these questions, and you need to write down their responses. So you're going to write down what they say. So for instance, Taufik, you're going to ask Mustafa, how often do you study English? Mustafa will tell you, I often, or I hardly ever, I never, I sometimes study English. Okay? And you would write down his answer. So let's do an example. Andy, how often do you eat apples?
Me? Sometimes.
What did you write?
Oh. No. Often.
Okay, can you read the full sentence?
I often eat apples.
Very good. I often eat apples. So, Andy is a man. So we're going to use I, you, he, she, he. That's right. So he often eats apples. So he often eats apples. Okay. Let's do one more. Mustafa, how often do you drink coffee? Or no, how often do you exercise?
Every day. No, sorry.
That's okay. That's all right.
I always
Mm-hmm.
exercise.
Very good. I always exercise. So again, we're going to use he. Always. Okay. So, do you guys see the difference between I always exercise versus he always exercises? What's different? What's different about the word exercise? Okay, yes, Abu Bakr.
Because I always for me is always every day. Tout le monde, comment on dit tout le monde?
Everyone does not.
Everyone, yeah.
Okay.
Is always exercise.
Okay. Yeah. But
This one person, this
Why
it's somebody else. Yeah,
Yeah.
somebody else.
Yeah.
But
What is the verb?
what else? Yes.
What is the verb? You always exercise.
Exercises.
Why don't you put you always do exercise?
Because you don't need to put do before exercise. You can just say, I exercise. Or he always exercises.
Okay.
Okay? So, yes.
For me, he has troisième personne for the singularity or no?
Singular or plural?
No.
No, not quite.
Troisième personne du singulier en fait.
Not quite.
Ah,
Ah, wait. Yeah, yeah. So,
C'est
so-
il.
français.
Je c'est moi.
Voilà.
Mais il c'est troisième personne du singulier.
yeah, okay, so I would be a first person singular.
Yes.
He is third person singular.
Yes.
Yeah, so that's different. But what happens to the verb when we use the first person singular versus the third person
we
singular?
don't put us on the first
That's right.
person,
Yes.
and for the third person we put us.
Very good. That's right, Sterling. So, for first person singular, we're not going to add an S to the verb, right? But for the third person singular pronoun, we have to add an S to the verb. That's the difference.
Okay.
So, I always exercise. No S. He always exercises. We have an S. He often eats apples, right? And that's because we're using he. If we use she, it's the same thing. She often eats apples. She always exercises. Okay? So again, when you're writing down your partner's answers, make sure you add an S. Okay? All right. Yes, Alexis.
If you put she, you put is. You put e. Okay.
Yeah, same thing.
S.
So if it's she, he, or it,
After
She
eats
yeah. So for-
apple.
yeah, that's right.
Okay.
So she eats apples. It
Okay.
eats